One of the things that's being discussed right front and center here at this Global Business Forum is innovation and technology and transformation and what it's doing for growth potentially. Auto industry, boy, you're going through a transformation, whether it's electric vehicles, autonomous vehicles. Tell us Ford's perspective.
Well, you know, David, there's really three technologies that are kind of coming together at the same time. We have new propulsion with electric vehicles. We have the robotic brains of the vehicle, that's the AV. And the third is really the cloud technology that can orchestrate traffic. And what's so cool about this is the three of these things actually weren't planned to come together at the same time, but because they are, we now have solutions for cities.
And you have a specific project outside of Pittsburgh called Argo AI that you're investing a fair amount of money in and seeking, I think, investment for elsewhere as well. Where is that, and how can that help you catch up with a Waymo? Or for that matter, some people think Cruise is ahead of you over GM.
You know, the great story about Argo is that we invested in them roughly 460 days ago. It's a brand new company, and from zero they have over 400 employees. High majority of them are PhDs. This is the most talented group in the world, I believe, working on the program. They're alumni of Google and Uber and other prominent universities like Carnegie Mellon. And the number one issue that really is at risk here is we have to have the vehicles be able to perceive what's going on. In other words, to make a discernment between whether you're looking at a person, a car, or a telephone pole. And that seems straightforward, and Ford has made a lot of progress in the perceptive area. So I believe this technology is going to be as revolutionary as things like the telephone were when it hits. It's more of a marathon, though, than a sprint, and I think we're number 2 in the race right now.
It's a marathon. Are you going to have the wherewithal, particularly the resources, to get there? Because at the same time, the auto industry is under some pressure. Ford is under pressure in its profitability. The profits are down somewhat. Your stock price is down somewhat. It's going to take a lot of money, even your credit rating. Are you going to have the resources you need? Do you need outside partners for capital?
Well, I'm really proud of our balance sheet. It's a fortress-type balance sheet. We have more liquidity than we did in the height of the period before we went into the last downturn on purpose, because we learned a lot from that. This category is so attractive that there are investors that want to come in, and we're open to that. But we don't have to do that prematurely, or do we have to sell cheap, so to speak. We have the resources to get us through the phases we are now. The biggest challenge, I think, beyond getting the technology right is the development of markets. So anytime you look at a new technology, all the hype is about how magical it is. This will be that. But all the skill, the business skill, is making a business model that can work with that.
At the same time, you talked about fitness and getting the company really fit. Where are you in that process? Last time we talked, you were starting it out and you hadn't made real decisions yet. Do you have all the assets that you need and no more?
This is a great concept, because fitness is really not just about cost improvement, which it is, but it's about efficiency, or what I call better design. So the story I've been telling is how fast it takes someone to get their vehicle. It's the same speed it was 15 years ago. So at Ford, we've decided that it has to be faster. There's 18 other projects like that. We've identified $25 billion in savings that's in our 5-year plan. So the fitness thing is going really well. And what I like about it is the way the people at Ford have owned it.
Let's talk about trade, because you have the marathon, as you call it, of the mobility move. At the same time, we don't know if it's a sprint or a marathon, frankly, right now. Whether this is a short-term phenomenon for negotiation or whether it could really be years in the making. How does it affect Ford right now? Because we're seeing it throughout the auto industry.
You know, David, when you and I first talked and I took this job, we talked at the auto show. I never really imagined that trade would be at the height of discussion that it is today. You know, trade's a function of equilibrium, that everything's kind of working and business people can make decisions because, yes, sadly a hurricane or some sort of fire like we had in a factory can hit you. You're used to dealing with that. But trade's policy, and so I have two beliefs about it. First is it has to be updated, it has to be modernized, because so many things have changed, but it has to be resolved fairly quickly. And so what we're urging our administration to do, and when we're in China and in Europe, we say you need to come to agreement quickly. From Ford's perspective, the metals tariffs took about $1 billion of profit from us. which the irony is we source most of that in the U.S. today anyways. So we're in a good place right now, but if it goes on longer, there'll be more damage.
Are you making changes in the way you produce vehicles, where you produce them, how many you produce, what your supply chain is already?
No, really not. The trade didn't change any of our thinking about that. Matter of fact, we're more of an exporter in that regard, and so Lincoln is a really hot product in China. We make that in Louisville, Kentucky, and so the 25% tariff has made the price of our Lincoln MKC not as attractive. And we've had to move people in that factory to other operations because of that trade problem.
One final word, the River Rouge plant. 100th anniversary tomorrow.
Yeah, what a proud story. Do you know, I don't know if the listeners know, at one time 100,000 people worked in that factory. And what's so cool about it is people, they look at Henry Ford and you go, gosh, he was successful. Well, he bet everything to build that. And it was a huge success, and its principles still work today.